I'm Steve.
And I'm Les.
And this is another episode of Tabletop Tastings. A little different. Les, what are we going to do today?
Today we are looking back on all of the board games we've played in Q4 2024.
Nice.
And what we're going to do is we're going to look at our top 5 from all of the games that we've paired with board games or that we've done live playthroughs on. Nice. So to kick us off, Steve, how about we start with you?
Okay.
What has been your 5th favorite board game over the past quarter that we've played?
Yeah, so we've played a lot of really good games, and I've really enjoyed basically all of them.
Yeah, and
so it was a little bit tougher to do this list.
And it's been a good mix of older games and more modern games as well. Yeah, so I'm very interested to see or to hear, Steve, number 5. What do you got?
Okay, so my number 5 is a modern classic, and it is Wingspan.
Wow.
I really enjoy that game. The more I've played it over the years, it's been enjoyable. It's funny, it's one of those ones, I think I even said it during our filming, why don't we play this more often? Because it's just so enjoyable. Trying to collect the right amount of eggs and getting the right birds, and you're kind of working on your own, but you're definitely working against the other person to try and build up the best forest of birds. And I don't even really like birds too much, but I really enjoy that game. Everything is great about it, and it's not really a surprise why it is a modern classic to me.
A beautiful game. It didn't make my list, but it is a beautiful game, and it is really enjoyable. It's a great engine builder. And we paired that with Starlight Cigar Batch of Bourbon Finish, and the bourbon and the board game went together really nicely. Great game. Great game, not in my top 5.
Yeah, two like woodland things definitely went together there. It was so good. That's my number 5. What's yours?
My number 5 is actually a newer game that we just played and put up recently on the channel, but that is Mycelia. Mycelia, you've got your mother mushroom and you're spreading spores, and it's kind of an area control / engine builder with the cards as you fruit and decay your mushrooms. Brand new game. I thoroughly enjoy that, and it's one that I've played it a couple times now, and I can't wait to get it back to the table again to try it again.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's kind of funny because I think it probably would have made my top 5, but I almost forgot about it because we had just filmed it, and we literally just released that. And I really enjoyed it. It was so good. Paired that with that Bossa Nova from Doc Swinson. So good. And both those things really went well together. I agree with you. Should have been in my top 5 too.
Okay, and my number 4, I'm super excited to mention because I'm interested in your reaction or your response to it. My number 4 is Crokinole. It's Crokinole. I love that game, and it's one that every time it comes to the table, regardless of who's there, people start flicking it, and it's a really enjoyable experience that you can play with literally anybody, and anybody can sit down and enjoy that game.
Yeah, everything you just said is factual.
I'm excited to see where on the list Crokinole landed for you. Is it number 1? Is it number 2? I don't know, but Crokinole is my number 4.
I love playing Crokinole. It's not a board game. Anyways, so I don't disagree with you because you are such a huge fan of Crokinole, and it's a really fun game to play. It is not even in a modern classic
well, it's like
category.
1860s.
It's a classic. Oh, that's for sure. Yeah, so it's not on my top 5.
It's not on your top 5.
No, not on my top 5.
But it was my number 4, and that was Crokinole.
That's
Steve,
good.
What's your number 4?
All right. So my number 4 is a game that I didn't know necessarily that I would like as much as I did, and that is Arcs.
Arcs?
Yeah.
Nice.
I really enjoyed playing that game. At first I was like, oh, this is going to be, like, there's a lot going on with it. The board, there's a lot going on. And yet I really enjoyed playing it. I got immersed into it. Like, immediately got immersed into it. And it took like 1 or 2 rounds, and then I'm like, okay, I think I've got this figured out. Every time you play, you can change up what your strategy is to try and be the better alien, right?
Arcs is such a unique game because it is really, it's a trick taker. It's a space adventure type game. And it's that trick taking element that allows you to set what the objectives are for the round. So that changes every time, every round, what you're actually trying to do for that game. It's such a unique game, and it's so much fun.
And it's beautiful.
It's absolutely gorgeous.
It's a gorgeous looking game. And we paired that with Angel's Envy again, and just really, really well done. I love that game. I've loved playing it. And it's one of those ones where I'm like, it can be a little unnerving. Not unnerving is maybe not the right word. Intimidating, yeah. It can be a little bit intimidating when you look at it and look at all the pieces to it, but just get it because you will enjoy it.
Yeah, it's
such a good game.
Such a good game.
That's my number 4.
What's your number 3?
Okay, so my number 3, my top 3, is Comic Hunters.
Ah, okay.
I love that game. I thought it was so much fun. It just kind of took me back to being a kid again, going down to the comic store and picking out what I wanted to collect. And you see the rows and rows of boxes of comic books. And I was like, how are they going to really translate that into a game? And they did such a good job of it.
They made comic collecting fun. And it is really neat because you've got, different phases that take place over the different rounds. And they're all different ways to draft and collect cards. And then you're building sets and whatnot through it. Really smart, well done game, and it was neat because we got to meet the creator of that game at really Gen Con and got a signed copy of the box as well. So it was super neat.
Yeah, and it wasn't like, okay, I've collected all of these, I can just put all them out. I love the mechanics of that you had to pay for them. If I wanted to use, 6 Hulks, I had to be able to pay for those, right? Which was really cool because again, it's just like you can't have one person kind of run away with the game. I love that where it just kind of evens the playing field a little bit. And I just really enjoyed it. I liked our pairing that we did with it. It was so good. Obviously the pairing of 2 stacks with that was just
so good. It was
perfect.
So good.
It's such a unique game, and that pairing is such a unique whiskey to go along with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely my number 3.
We've got our first overlap here.
Okay.
My number 3 is Ark's Conflict and Collapse in the Reach.
Yeah.
I love Arcs, and I mentioned before the trick-taking way that you play it. I've never played anything like it before, and I love that. That one card can determine so much. If you can't follow suit, or if you're not getting the lead, you're really going to struggle in that game. But I really enjoy how everything, all those different systems work together to make that a really unique, fun space adventure.
And like you said, there's enough there to just kind of keep you going, okay, I really want to, I've got to try and take the lead, or I've got to try this, or I've got to try that. And when you get to the end of the game, win, lose, you're like, okay, next time I'm doing this. And that's always a good review of any game. When you're thinking next time, that means it's a good game.
Yeah. Absolutely. So that was my number 3, Arcs. My number 2, I'm actually going to jump back about 20 years. My number 2 is a game that I've owned for a couple of decades, and I love this game. And I was really excited when we had a chance to play it in our Sip and Play episode. But that game is Puerto Rico. I love Puerto Rico. And I'm super excited because there is a game found that should be shipping to backers actually in the very near future with upgraded deluxe components for that game. So they've simplified the boards so that everything kind of fits more snugly into place. Because that's the only downside to that game is it takes probably half an hour to set it up because there's so many. You got that board and you got to put all the different businesses out on it. It's cumbersome and that part's not enjoyable. But I love playing the actual game. And the updated version of that fixes all of that by having nice handy game trays where everything's stored or whatnot. But Puerto Rico, it's a classic. It's been around forever. I love it. That's my number 2.
I can't disagree with you. It is such a good game. It didn't make my top 5, but I know that it holds a special place in your heart.
It does.
Because it's one of the first games that you bought, right? So it's just such a good game.
I remember when I got that game thinking that was the most complex game. In fact, it was the most complex game I had played at that point. But that was, I had played Catan and I had played Risk. There wasn't a lot of games, Carcassonne maybe. There wasn't a lot of games leading up to that were really good games. Puerto Rico, fantastic, my number 2.
That's so good. Yeah, I agree with it. That's a great number 2. All right, so my number 2 is Heat Heavy Rain.
The expansion.
And so it's not the full game, it is just the expansion, but it did make my list because every time I play that game, I love it.
Yeah, it's good.
I don't even care if I lose because it's just the whole time your eyes are on the board. And you're like, okay, where's that guy? Okay, where is he? How can I get around this corner? Okay, I need to expend enough heat to get around that corner, but I can't do too much. And it's just so much fun. You're drafting, you're doing everything. They took racing, put it in a board game, and did it so well.
Yeah, and
I laugh. I have a smile the entire time I'm playing it.
I really like what they did in the expansion, so Heat, Heavy Rain, because by adding the rain to the track, I love that they penalize or charge you a heat to downshift in the water, because it changes your strategy completely. Really, really like how they did that. It didn't make my top 5, but the more I play Heat, the more I'm starting to enjoy it more than I did before.
What did we pair with that?
Heat was paired with Jack Daniels.
Ooh, yeah. So we had to take it to the next level. So a Jack Daniels single barrel, which was really good.
If you like strong Jack, it's good.
In fact, that Jack Daniels single barrel was on my top 5 for a while. I had it in my list of top 5 whiskeys because it's just that much better. And it's just so good. It really does live in that top range. It's a top shelf whiskey because of that. But like that Heat, Heavy Rain, it just makes me smile. I just enjoy it so much.
Steve, what's your number 1?
Okay, so my number 1 is probably not a big surprise to you because it is the first time.
It is actually a big surprise because I was wondering, what would you like more than Arcs? What would you like more than Heat? So I think it's just clicked for me what it's going to be. Tell us.
So it is Survival of the Fattest.
Survival of the Fattest, yes.
It holds a bit of a special place because it is mine.
Is because that's the only game that you have brought to the board game whiskey pairing table. So I can see why that's your favorite in this list.
And it probably has a little bit to do with the Hibiki as well, because it was just such a good pairing, which I was a little bit surprised you were able to do.
I brought a good bottle.
You brought a really good bottle. But I've played that at least 3 times since. I really, really enjoy that game. There's not a ton to it. It's a bit of a simpler game. It's not like Puerto Rico where you're spending an hour trying to teach people how to set up and try.
Like
exactly, So there's not a ton of setup to it. It's a nice, easy game to play. You're a little woodland creature. Why wouldn't you want to be a little woodland creature?
It's a beautiful game. It's a beautiful
You can be old Grizz and he's just the angry guy that's just going to bump everybody off. I've played with every single character now. I do have my favorites, but they all bring something a little bit different to it, which is kind of cool too, because every time you play, you get to try and do a little bit different strategy to get you to that end game of having the most recipes, the most food to then overwinter. And I just really enjoy playing that game. I love the game. I love the look of the game. The artistry on it is so good. It's my number 1. It holds a special place just because of that.
Yeah, and I think that's when you've, like you mentioned, you played with every character in it, or almost, but all those games have been with your family as well, right? So
family and friends type of thing.
And you did have all the miniatures in that game custom painted as well. And I find if you've got a game with minis and you have them painted, it just makes it so much more impactful. You want to play with them, and it's a more enjoyable experience.
I couldn't play the game without now. 100%. Yeah. My number 1, Survival of the Fattest.
My number 1 is Comic Hunters, the English edition.
I'm surprised, but I'm not. I am surprised, but I'm not surprised.
So I want to go maybe a little bit sentimental on this one as well, because Comic Hunters, we got to meet, I think Robert is his name.
Do we have the box Robert back here?
So, we got a signed copy of Comic Hunters. Robert was there. Robert, I don't want to say his last name because I'm going to butcher it. Colho, maybe. But, I chatted with Robert for, 2 or 3 minutes while we're there. He signed this to the Tabletop Tasting. So there is a bourbon meetup that takes place at Gen Con every year. And he had walked by it, but was sick and couldn't attend it. But he's going next year. We're going to meet up and chat. Such a cool guy. This game came out, I think, in 2022, but it's just the English version of it that's released this year. And I love it. And part of the reason why I love it, we'll go back to the nostalgia bit as well. I owned a chunk of the comics in here, especially the Spider-Man ones I collected as a kid. So seeing all that artwork on each of the cards, whether you're going to the con or you're going to a comic book store or you're going to eBay or online, whatever it is.
A flea market.
Flea market.
Whatever,
The options, the way you collect the cards is completely different. And I do like that aspect of to play comics, you got to pay comics to pay for them. So it's always that battle, that struggle back and forth of what sets do I want to go with and what's going to be valuable and win me the game. But I really, really enjoy Comic Hunters.
That's awesome. So my number one was a bit of an, it's because of the personal attachment to the game.
Yep.
And again, for you, this is a personal attachment. It was awesome that Robert took that much time. There was 75,000 people at Gen Con on every day. And he took a few minutes with you, which is really, really cool. We got some video of it and I got to watch the whole interaction between you guys. So the same thing with whiskey. You have that personal attachment to it. It's the same thing with board games. It has a big impact on us who we're playing it with. Because you can play with the wrong people, get introduced to it at the wrong time, and you're not going to like the game.
Yeah.
If you're introduced to it at the right time with the right people, you're going to love the game. So it's the same thing. I love it. That makes it really that much special. I love it. Good job, Les. I cannot disagree with you at it being number one.
Sweet. I do want to throw out a little honorable mention as well. And that honorable mention goes to Rebel Princess, the deluxe edition.
Yeah.
For essentially being a fancy version of Hearts, I love this game. It's
good.
It's a game that I've brought out with my kids' friends. I've brought it out with other couples or like just random people and played this game. And everyone I played it with has had a blast with it. And it's because it's as simple as Hearts, but it throws in just a few extra little variables to keep things interesting and exciting. So a little honorable mention to Rebel Princess. We also met one of the marketing members of Bezier Games and got a little tour of their booth at Gen Con, and it was a really, really cool experience.
Yeah, I can agree with you on that one. We also do kind of our bottom of all the games that we've played.
Okay.
Les, what's your bottom?
My bottom is a game that's beautiful, but I find it too much effort to play.
Okay.
And that is Canvas. Canvas is a game where you're taking 3 different images printed on clear plastic cards that you slide together and you create a painting of them. And the game is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. However, every time somebody takes a piece of artwork to add to their painting, you got to slide all this artwork down. And because somebody's taking a piece of artwork, almost every single time they play, it's a constant job of just sliding all the artwork down. So I enjoy the game. I don't like the manual sliding of things. And it essentially comes down to just a symbol matching game. So while the output looks really, really pretty, I don't find the game worth the effort it takes to play it. So that's my bottom game. And I'll play it with anyone. Like, I still don't mind it. It's just my least favorite from all the games that we have played over the last 3 months.
Nice.
Steve, what's your
I think you're thinking of the one that I'm going to say.
Oh, there's no way you're going to say that because it's by no means your least favorite game that we've played over the last
It's not. And you're thinking of Crokinole, but it's not.
Okay, fantastic.
I love playing Crokinole.
Okay, excellent.
It's such a fun game. And it's just such a great game. And that pairing that we did with Hennessy, I love it.
The cognac.
That cognac is so good. So my least favorite game that we've played is actually the same one as yours.
Really?
Canvas.
Oh.
I absolutely hate that game.
Okay, so that's a little sharper than
No, I can't. There's no redeeming qualities to it. And it's, for me...
It's not that bad.
No, literally, if someone said, do you want to play Canvas? I would say, no, let's play Monopoly over Canvas.
That's bad. Man.
Yeah, yeah,
okay, so
Monopoly's popular, but it's not...
What do you not enjoy about it?
So I really don't care about the moving of things. That doesn't really bother me.
Okay.
Well,
it's because I'm the one doing it.
No, you, 2 rounds in, you're like, can you move those over?
I'll have to go back and watch the video for that.
Can you move those? I don't want to keep moving them. There's nothing that I enjoy about it. So even at the end, you're like, okay, well, I've collected this amount, and okay, now I've got to use them together. And I don't like the game.
Okay.
Maybe it's It's all the colors going on, that kind of thing.
Do you think your color blindness plays a factor in
There is the possibility, like honestly speaking, there is that a little bit of that. They don't have enough insignias or like symbols, that kind
all
of
the
thing
ribbons
to it.
are pretty similar.
Yeah,
in
they're
design,
all,
right?
yeah. So it's kind of like I get a little bit lost in what I'm trying to go for at that time, because all I'm looking at is this, like the canvases that I can grab to try and make, and I'm like, well, I already grabbed 4, so I've got to make one. I really don't enjoy it.
This has been our top 5 and our bottom 1 of all of the board games that we've paired with whiskey over the past 3 months in 2024, the last 3 months of 2024. We hope you have enjoyed what we have or what we haven't, but please let us know in the comments if you agree with our list or if there's other games on there that we played that you think should be in the top 5 or are your top 5. Please like, subscribe, and comment. It means the absolute world to us.
Yeah, do all the things that Les just said, and send us your comments. We would love to hear from you.
My name is Les.
And I'm Steve.
And this is Tabletop Tastings.
That it is.
Have a great day.
Yeah. Ooh, that 4 Roses is pretty tough to drink.
I couldn't. That's why I just had to stop. Which is funny, because if you just have it on its own.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.